So, just how dominating was those Eagles this past Sunday? How do the Chiefs recover from that devastating defeat? And what kind of lessons did we learn in our fantasy season this past year? We're going to try to find the answers to those questions and a lot more as we get you ready to wrap up and recap Super Bowl 59 and give you a little recap of our fantasy season and what we learned from all that. That's coming up right here on Fantasy Football Fever, which starts right about now. Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Friday night, February 14th, 2025. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone who's celebrating. I really don't have a Valentine, so I'm just Singles Awareness Day is what I call it anyway. But however, whenever and wherever you're watching, thanks for making this part of your week. Of course, I am Tim McClelland. And once again, over here, walking the streets of the Empire State, our good friend, the host of the Hooked on Sports podcast, Mr. John Flynn. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Tim. Happy Singles Awareness Day.
Yes,
So,
I'm the
but it's
same to you.
because I'm celebrating the same thing.
Right. So, yeah, I've been without a sweetheart for a long time. So anyway, hope you're doing great. And our good friend, our commissioner, John Natale, just running slightly late, but he will be joining us momentarily. Just hope everybody had a great week, and well, we've got some real hot topics to discuss, including the wrap up of Super Bowl 59. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, I uh, I was flabbergasted. I mean, at the end of the first half, the score was like 24 to nothing. Eagles led, and of course they went on to take care of the Chiefs 40 to 22 after the Chiefs scored 16 what they call garbage time points in the fourth quarter. So looking at some individual stats here, Patrick Mahomes, he went 22 of 32, 21 of 32 for a total of 257 yards. He threw three touchdowns. He did throw two interceptions. One of them was returned to the house, and he was sacked six times for a total of 31 yards. But he also led the Chiefs in rushing. He had four carries for only a total of 25 yards. Jalen Hurts was very, very good this one. 17 of 22 for 222 yards, two touchdowns, only one interception, and he was only sacked only twice for a loss of a total of 11 yards. And he also led the Eagles in rushing, had 11 carries for 72 yards and one touchdown. Uh, the runners, Kareem Hunt, very disappointing in him. He only had three carries for 90 yards, for 9 yards. Uh, Isaiah Pacheco only had the ball three times for a total of 7 yards. Meanwhile, Saquon Barkley, He underperformed. I could have swore that he was going to have at least another 100-yard game, but he carried the ball 25 times for only 57 yards. Kenneth Gainwell carried the ball 6 times for 10 yards. So for the ninth, so that means for the 19th consecutive postseason game, the Chiefs held a running back to less than 100 yards, which is pretty
Surprise,
impressive.
surprise, surprise, surprise.
Definitely surprised me. Um, as far as the receivers are concerned, Xavier Worthy got all 8 of his targets, got 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. Good for my
Yeah,
boy right there.
157 receiving yards is a Super Bowl record for a rookie.
Look, yes, congratulations to that for my man from the University of Texas. Travis Kelce only caught 4 out of his 6 targets for a total of 39 yards.
Yeah,
Uh,
and all four of his catches came in the second half. In the first half, he had 2 targets, 2 drops.
yeah, that was pretty bad right there. DeAndre Hopkins was targeted 5 times, only got 2 catches for a total of 18 yards, but he did provide one receiving touchdown. Uh, Juju Smith-Schuster got both of his targets for only 16 total receiving yards. Hollywood Brown, 6 targets, only 2 catches for 15 yards. And on the Philly side of the receiving, Devontae Smith, he had 5 targets, caught 4 passes for 69 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and by the way, Devontae Smith became the first Alabama player ever to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Ever.
Ever?
Ever. Yes, ever.
First Bama player to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl? Well, in that case, roll tide roll. Also, A.J. Brown was targeted 5 times, caught 3 passes for 43 yards and a touchdown. Jahan Dawson had 3 targets, got 2 catches for 42 yards. Saquon Barkley did pretty well, got 6 of 7 targets for 40 yards. Dallas Goddard got both of his catches for his targets, got 27 yards right there. So as far as the offense is concerned, yeah, it was pretty much all Eagles right there. But I guess it was also the defense that pretty much did the Chiefs in early and often.
Some of the big things I said on my podcast on Tuesday. Number one, all the Chiefs' plans were basically foiled by the end of the first quarter. That obviously the plan we expected the Chiefs to commit to stopping Saquon Barkley, and the theory is you have to stop the other team's best player, and they did that. They did very well. Only held Saquon to under 2.5 yards per carry. So what did Jalen Hurts need to do? He needed to make some big throws, and he needed to make some accurate throws, and he did that early and often. And that play to set up the first point of the game, the 27-yard pass to Jahan Dotson, instead of a first and goal, and it basically said that Jalen Hurts will be able to put this game under control for Philadelphia. So that's why he deserved to win the Super Bowl MVP. I don't think if Jalen Hurts did not have a good game, I do not believe the Eagles would have won the Super Bowl, despite the ferociousness of the defense. It would have been a much closer game. And then as for the Chiefs, their problem was that on their first possession, 2nd and 9, so a nice seam pass up the middle that was not connected properly between Mahomes and Kelce, which set up a 3rd and 9, and And the Eagles played man coverage, and they only brought four all night. They did not blitz once, and the pressure was just relentless by Vic Fangio and the Philadelphia Eagles. So you factor that in, and the Cooper DeJean pick six that made it 17-0. That was the point where we said game over. It is not going to be another 17-point comeback that Patrick Mahomes had against Philly the last time the two teams played in the big game.
Right. So I'm kind of taking a look here at some team statistics right here. Wow, the Eagles got a total of 21 first downs to only 12 from Kansas City. Both teams got 11 first downs passing, but as far as rushing, Chiefs only got one, while the Eagles got seven.
And also, mind you, in terms of the first down stat, was that in the first half the Chiefs got a first down on the first play, their first play from scrimmage, and then they did not get a first down the rest of the half, which is
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, absolutely insane if you ask me. Third down efficiency, both teams converted three first downs, but Chiefs was 3 of 11 on first downs, while the Eagles went 3 of 12 on third downs.
And
Both.
that was something I said last week. The Chiefs needed to convert on those third downs, and they couldn't. And so they were 60% conversion rate against Buffalo in the AFC Championship game between third and fourth downs. In the Super Bowl, just 25%.
Wow. So basically, total offensive yards 345 for the Eagles, 275 for the Chiefs. Let's see here. Penalties here. Chiefs were penalized 7 times for 75 yards. Eagles were penalized 8 times for 59 yards. Uh, Two interceptions thrown by the Chiefs, of course, one by the Eagles. And time of possession 36 minutes 58 seconds for the Eagles, while 23 minutes and 2 seconds for the Chiefs. So
And what's also noted was that the Eagles forced three turnovers and got 17 points off three turnovers, while the Chiefs only got one turnover. The interception that Jalen Hurts threw to Brian Cook, which was the only bad throw, and that Hurts made all night, and the Chiefs went three and out after that.
wow, I mean, yeah, I guess you thought you could get the Chiefs to do something with that turnover, but somehow the Eagles said no way. So let's
I mean,
see here.
the Eagles forced 11 turnovers while only committing one turnover.
Right. Yeah. The turnovers, one of those, but yeah. So, so yeah, I mean, as it is, I am a Cowboys fan. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of happy that the Lombardi Trophy is in the NFC East, but of course it's those Eagles. But I gotta tell you, I mean, as Jalen Hurts was, as great as Saquon Barkley was, as great as all those guys were, I believe, in my honest opinion, the real. Oh, I think Flynn just. Let's bring him back here. So he's back here now.
Yeah.
Flynn, I was about to say, in spite of the fact that Jalen Hurts played a great game, Saquon Barkley did a great game, the receivers, the defense on those Eagles, they were all great. But if you really want my honest opinion, I believe that the real MVP, not just for that game, for this whole season, was Howie Roseman.
So I mean, the thing I didn't realize until I think it was last night or the night before is take a look at the five Eagles championships in their history. 1948, they played the defending champion Chicago Cardinals, shut them out in a snowstorm. The following year, the 1949, so they shut out the Rams at the Coliseum in the NFL championship game. 1960, they beat Lombardi's Packers. They beat Belichick's Patriots, and they beat Reed Mahomes and the Chiefs. And the last three times they won the NFL championships, they denied Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick, and Andy Reid three peats. All of them.
Wow.
And the other two championships were the two most recent shutouts in NFL championship history, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Howie Roseman, the general manager for the Chiefs. I think, I think as far as Howie Roseman is concerned, GM should also stand for genius manipulator. I mean, the way that guy went through the free agent season, the way he went through the NFL draft, and all the trades, the trade season right there, I'll tell you what. I mean, Howie Roseman should be really the MVP of this team this year.
No
Definitely.
question.
So, with that being said, there's a few more hot topics we gotta talk about today. So the first one here, it was talked about for about a couple of weeks, and it wasn't going to be made official until after the Super Bowl, but it was. The final head coaching position in the NFL has now been filled as the New Orleans Saints have hired former Eagles and Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. So, your thoughts on that, Flynn?
I mean, I think it's an excellent hire for New Orleans because New Orleans really needed an offensive coach to be the head coach, and so and it's going to take a while for him to get him to be the head coach and get accustomed to it, and as the Saints have salary cap hell and all that other stuff, but I mean, after the atrocities of employing Dennis Allen, I think it's a much bigger upgrade to me.
Yeah, I would think so. With Allen's departure, here comes Kellen Moore to come in for the offensive coordinator position, and excuse me. Well, I'd say give it about maybe a couple of years and see if New Orleans can once again compete in the NFC South against Carolina and Tampa Bay and
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta. So that's so I mean Tampa Bay still looks good for the division, but we'll see what happens going forward.
No question about that.
All right. Now there of course been some trade rumors going along here in the league. The first one I see Matthew Stafford with the Lions. So I don't know if I can really answer this one really good. If they should let him stay or send him anywhere else. Uh, Matthew Stafford, he's pretty good. He won a Super Bowl, but it seems like ever since then, the Rams have just been kind of maybe either below average, they become average, or they're slightly above average, but they just haven't really gotten back to the form that they had when they won that Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah, but to be fair though, the Rams did the Ocean's 11 approach in the Super Bowl because like they had to go all in, do whatever it took to win a Super Bowl, and they cashed in that Lombardi. They won the Super Bowl the year they went all in, then they had to rebuild and they had to replace Aaron Donald. They did that well. Jared Verse being the defensive rookie of the year is evidence of that. The Rams have an up and coming defense, and the Rams were the closest to knocking out the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs.
Yeah. So so my question is, if they do let Stafford go,
I
what
mean,
what team is there?
you could consider the Giants as one, but I don't. But I think that the Rams going to ask for the third overall pick, and I don't think the Giants have interest in doing that, nor should they. Um, it's a but perhaps it's yeah, but I mean, perhaps it's a team like the Steelers, or perhaps that needs a quarterback, because right now the Steelers do not have a quarterback it's locked into the 2025 roster.
Okay, and I think you just provided a great segue to my next subject, Russell Wilson. So where could he go? Oh, there he is. There he's back. So all right. So now he's home. I mean, he's got controls now. So let's talk about Russell Wilson. If they decide to let him go, maybe. Of course, the Giants definitely need a quarterback. But
Yeah, so,
anywhere
but I mean,
else?
the thing with the Giants, maybe Russell Wilson goes to the Raiders, because he'll be reunited with Darren Bevel and Pete Carroll in Vegas. I think that I think it behooves the Raiders, knowing that Cam Warren and Shador Sanders are probably not going to be available for them when they draft at 8, to go get a bridge quarterback for the future.
So so let me get your perspective. You of course are a Giants fan. You and Natale both. Uh, how do you think the Giants will come up with a plan to get the quarterback that they need?
I'm going to give you what I think the Giants should do, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you what I think they're going to do. I
Right.
I, I, I would not address the quarterback situation at all in 2025, because the roster still has a lot of issues that you don't have an offensive line that can protect the quarterback. And my thinking is that you just have to build through the draft. I mean, just take a look at what Philadelphia did. They built through the draft, and because that was something that the Eagles knew they had to recalibrate after the way the 2020 season ended. They made the shoe trades and all that. So I would draft best player available. I don't think the quarterbacks are our best player available this year. So whether it's Abdul Carter, or whether it's Travis Hunter, or somebody like that, if those guys are available at 3, I would definitely would take one of those cats at number 3, because it's best player available. And then you build. So if it's Abdul Carter, you build that defensive line. That defensive line is going to be set for a while, and then you just have to bring in a veteran or two for the secondary, and the linebacker, and the wide receiver, and quarterback. In theory, given the big contracts the Giants have with Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns, and a draft class that was one of the 5 to 10 best draft classes in the NFL this season. Uh, have another great draft. The Giants aren't far off.
Mm-hmm. As we say hello to our league commissioner, Mr. John Natale. How you, sir?
Yeah, doing all right. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We were just talking about recapping Super Bowl 59, and we just got into a little bit of hot topics. Let me get your opinion on the way the Super Bowl went in your eyes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, not what I expected to happen at all. There was one thing I was right about. I said it was going to be a massacre. Only I picked the wrong team that was going to do the massacring.
Yeah,
And I'm the only
yeah,
I'm the only one here who predicted a more than one score game.
yeah. Matter of fact, you did. So yeah, I guess you're right on that. Now we were just talking about some of the hot topics here. Talking about trade rumors involving Matthew Stafford, Tyreek Hill, Russell Wilson. Got any thoughts on those?
Hmm.
We actually haven't talked about Tyreek Hill yet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think the last update I heard was he changed his story now and he wants to remain with the team.
Yeah, which I kind of find that malarkey to me because like the reason why the Chiefs wanted to get rid of Tyreek Hill was because so that he was a diva and he would cause character problems and that's basically what he's been with Miami that um I could very much see Tyreek Hill going to a team like the Chargers. So the Chargers are a team that make a lot of sense for Tyreek Hill because the Chargers are clearing a lot of cap room this offseason. It's because of all the big contracts that Tom Telesco signed in 22 and 23 to try to go all in for Justin Herbert's rookie contract. But the Chargers need a wide receiver, and Tyreek Hill makes a lot of sense. And I think Jim Harbaugh would coach him up and try to get him accustomed to the culture because I think the Miami Dolphins are in an identity crisis, really. Because if you think about it, they had last year in 2023 they had Nick Fangio as their defensive coordinator, so the players did not like how hard he coached. So that he ran him out the door. Then goes to coach Philadelphia. Coaches the number one defensive football, wins the Super Bowl. So that's a big indictment on Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer. Like, how does Chris Greer still have a job in Miami as the general manager?
right. It is, it is absolutely pathetic. I mean, I loved when we did it was a few weeks ago on the Pain and Game Pick'em show where Alex wore a shirt that said "Fire Greer." Yeah, I agree with that. So, yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens on that. Um, Speaking of the Chiefs,
Yeah, and also and also another thing about Tyreek Hill, another team Sal Iaconio on the Ringer podcast said that the another team that Tyreek Hill would be interested in trading with is the Dallas Cowboys.
hmm, yeah, as far as his ability is concerned, yeah, I would say yes, but maybe because of his diva type attitude and all that, I don't know. I mean, that boy's gonna have to have some like discipline, you know. But I mean, like I said, as far
It's
as his talent's concerned, he'd be a great fit. But I don't know. That would be a big question mark on my list for what the Cowboys could get this year. But and speaking of, um, one name that you mentioned, well, we haven't mentioned yet, and we haven't talked about, Miles Garrett, two-time Defensive Player of the Year. He says he wants out of Cleveland.
and he should want out of Cleveland.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but here's something that I think would be interesting from a Browns perspective. Like, but Miles Garrett wants out, right? And there's not going to be a situation where if Miles Garrett does not get traded, that where he there won't be a situation that he's going to report to training camp at all, or mandatory mini camp at all for the Browns. What the Browns can say uh, is you want Miles Garrett, also take on the Deshaun Watson contract.
Hmm.
So like Miles Garrett would be the perfect fit for a team that's all in on going to the Super Bowl in 2020 this year and next year. You have a 2 year window to go to the Super Bowl before he could potentially retire. So that would be some really good leverage to have to just have them take on some of the Deshaun Watson contract. Let the Browns clear some cap space. Let them get focused on the future, and then proceed from there.
And I've heard some people watching. I've been watching some shows here this past week, and I heard some people say that the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Miles Garrett. They say a good landing spot for him would be in Dallas, but I just don't know how much Jerry Jones is going to be able to afford to get him, and how much they're going to have to give in order to get Garrett on the squad here. But I mean, that would beef up the Cowboys defense a little bit, but I think it might cost just a little too much for that.
Yeah.
Not sure about that though. Uh, Travis Kelce, the star tight end for the Chiefs. Retirement rumors going around. I haven't heard much of anything. What have y'all heard?
Nah, I haven't heard anything either. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but I think look at Travis Kelce and what he's been able to he's been able to do throughout his career, that so that he wasn't his typical self in the Super Bowl, and like he had one good playoff game, and that's pretty much it.
Um, yeah, like guys seem to me that his numbers were kind of down, like pretty much all the way through the season here. Let's see here. Let me see if I can look him up here and do some comparisons here. See if I can find his player page here and take a look. Because like I said, he kind of might have slightly went down a little bit. Let me take a look at some stats here for Kelsey. Okay, let's see here. Hmm. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Okay, so this year he was targeted 133 times for 823 yards, which is an average of 8.5. Only three touchdowns, uh, and two fumbles and one loss. Meanwhile, 2023 season, he was targeted 121 times with 984 catches for 10.6 984 yards, 10.6 yards, five touchdowns, 53 his longest reception, and one fumble, one loss. So kind of went down a bit. In fact, I just noticed here 8.5 averages is the lowest of his career. So is there? I mean, do you see a downturn, or could you see maybe improving next year? Or
It's, It's yeah, but I mean, I think what the Chiefs are gonna do is that they're gonna give him like a hard deadline, for him to determine whether or not he's gonna want to retire because it's gonna have to depend on some of the Chiefs' salary cap plans in 2025 that um uh, and that if he moves if he retires then it will free up a little bit of cap space for the Chiefs and then it would allow Noah Gray to come in and be the starting tight end going forward and what he has shown Noah Gray is that he is more than capable of being the starting tight end.
Right? Yeah, Noah
Yeah.
Gray. Although he didn't play a lot, but when he did, he did quite well. So I think he's a young fantasy player that could be on the rise here in the next year or two. So you might want to keep an eye on him. Uh,
Yeah,
Let me ask.
because yeah, and also in terms of Kelsey's contract, so the Chiefs are giving him a deadline of March 14th, because Travis Kelsey's contract includes an $11.5 million roster bonus that is due on March 15th,
Hmm.
and all that counts against the cap.
Right. So we'll just see what happens with that here. I want to ask you guys about another quarterback that came up this week. Aaron Rodgers. They've the Jets have already said that they're going to go a different direction. So the Jets have released Aaron Rodgers. So if there is a landing spot, does he have anything left? Should he retire? What do you think?
Yeah. Can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that's desperate for a quarterback right now.
I mean, like the teams that I'm considering are the Steelers, the Raiders, the Colts, the Giants. Think about it. The Colts are going into this offseason not trying to ask the question: do we have a quarterback?
Right.
My take is no, because Anthony Richardson has clearly flunked the eye test. So, but as long as Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are there, they're going to be pressed into trying to get as much value out of Anthony Richardson as they can, because Shane Steichen's name is going to be one of the names that I will list on my coaches in the hot seat segment later this summer, because if the Colts don't make the playoffs next year, I think Shane Steichen's going to get fired, and probably, and if you're a Colts fan, hopefully, Chris Ballard gets fired too.
Hmm.
Like the Colts are one of those teams where you don't know if you have a quarterback or not. And look, as Pittsburgh with the Steelers culture, if the Steelers need an upgraded quarterback, and in Aaron Rodgers, his last 10 games he played pretty well, which I think got lost in the shuffle because the Jets coaching was so bad, so anemic um so that if they had somewhat competent coaching, the Jets would have won more games than they did.
Hmm. So right now, as it stands, Richardson is QB1, Joe Flacco is 2B2, which I think he may.
Yeah, but
I don't know if Flacco's got.
he's a free agent though. That you can't count free agents automatically because you don't know whether they're going to come back. I mean I think Joe Flacco is going to retire for good.
Yeah. Then you still have Sam Ellinger from Texas. And then you have this guy Jason Bean, who I think they just drafted last year out of Kansas. So that Colts quarterback roster is going to be very interesting to look at when we come to the free agency and the draft periods, which will be coming very soon. So So we'll just see what happens with that.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the Giants plan before, because I didn't say what the Giants will do. What I think the Giants will do is they're probably going to sign a veteran quarterback this off season, whether it's Russell Wilson or someone like that. And also, another thing to note about the Matthew Stafford to the Giants buzz is that the Giants hired a relative of Stafford's to be their assistant quarterback coach behind Shea Tierney earlier this week. So that could fuel things into the fire. Um but what I believe the Giants will do is that they'll sign a veteran quarterback to be the week one starter in 2025, and then they're going to draft their quarterback at number 3. That's what I believe the Giants will do. I will disagree with it, but Brian Dable's name is going to be on the hot seat too.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. He's already on my list.
Yeah, it's the same thing on mine, and so you have that, but
Yeah, I heard the Giants also have what's his name, Travis Hunter on their radar at number 3, and then pivoting to a quarterback in round 2. I think Jackson Dart is his name.
Yeah. I mean, Jackson Dart. I think it would be a solid NFL quarterback if he's given a chance to start.
Mm-hmm.
So because Jackson Dart has set so many records from Ole Miss. By the way, Ole Miss is who went to college in town? Yes.
Ole Miss, that was
Ole Miss has Giants ties. So like again, like what I would do was that take best player available at 3, and then if Jackson Dart's there in round 2 with pick 34, he should pick in round 2.
Mm-hmm.
And having going to someone like Dable to coach him up, I think would be terrific.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But also, mind you, the Giants have $43 million in cap space, but that includes signing the draft class.
Mm.
So really, they're gonna have about $30 million to spend for the 2025, and
right.
And the thing is, like, next year the Giants have $140 million in cap space, so they could very easily restructure a contract or two to throw some money into 2026.
Wow. So
the Giants cap situation right now in 2026, they have the 8th highest amount of cap space going into 2026. I mean, we have to go through all this year to get to that point, but not. But again, like I said, not an easy. If the Giants to have another great draft like they did this year, I don't think they're going to be far off for 2026.
Right.
But I think because of John Mara being impulsive, that's why I think Shane and Dable are going to try to go desperate for a quarterback because of their job security.
Yeah. Yeah. As of right now, my prediction is they're going to get Cam Ward. That's my prediction as of now.
Too bad I don't have a pad and a pen with me. I was gonna maybe write that down for future reference, but I'll probably do that as soon as I.
Yeah, I don't see Saunders going there. I think Deion Sanders is gonna tell him don't go to a rival or something like that. Don't go to my rival, something like that.
Right.
But you think I think Tennessee is gonna draft a quarterback.
Yes.
So do we think the Browns are going to draft a quarterback, or are they going to go Abdul Carter?
I don't believe the Browns are going to go QB. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, but I think Abdul Carter would make a lot of sense to basically be the Myles Garrett replacement.
Yeah.
Is that you're basically getting Myles Garrett on a rookie contract? That's basically what you're doing. So
yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah. Saunders at number 1 with the Titans, and then 2 Abdul Carter with the Browns, and 3 Cam Ward for the Giants.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting right there. So I'll have to remember to write that down. Cam Moore to the Giants, according to Natale.
Yeah.
I have to remember that. So, I don't know if there is any other hot topics that we need to discuss right now.
And the only piece of minor news that I saw was Raheem Mostert got released by the Dolphins.
Yes.
Raheem Mostert released by the Dolphins. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to San Francisco. Honestly, I'd reunite with Shanahan.
All right.
Back to San Fran, huh?
Yeah, I just went to NFL.com. I just want to make sure if there's anything here. Let's see. I think Flynn brought up earlier, as I was before I got here, about the Giants selling a part of the team.
So we did not get to that yet, but I think what that basically means, it doesn't mean that anything in the organization is going to change as long as the Maras and the Tishes are the majority owners.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, in order for there to be a new owner, the Maras would have to sell 51% or more of the team, and they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah. So.
Hey, what else do I see? Yeah, it seems like Amon-Ra St. Brown is hoping that the Lions face the Eagles in the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The Eagles have a lot of interesting opponents that they could that the NFL might pick for the season opener, because the Eagles only have 8 home games in next season, because it's the AFC's turn to have 9 home games.
Mm-hmm.
But the possible teams that the Eagles might face for the season opener are the Lions, the Bears, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Commanders who they beat in the NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned Detroit and Chicago. I mentioned that. That the Raiders, the Broncos, and the same place finisher from the NFC West, the Rams.
Right.
Uh-huh.
The Lions and Eagles sounds great to me for the first game of the season.
I mean, Bears Eagles would be interesting.
True.
It's because Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams their first game together.
Ah, true. I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll find out sometime in May when who plays who, basically.
When season comes out.
When they play each other. I mean, we already know the opponents of
home
and road, and on that. But in terms of how the schedule lines up, and remember that thing is going to be important for us because of weeks 15 through 17 being the fantasy postseason.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess we'll find that out sometime in May.
Yeah.
It's usually like the second or third Wednesday of the month, typically.
Yeah.
You know, this may sound crazy, but I'd rather see Eagles versus Lions on opening day rather than Eagles versus Cowboys.
No, they're not going to put Eagles Cowboys up.
No, they shouldn't do that. Now, Eagles Lions, I would pay top dollar to see that.
Yeah, because remember the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which was 7 years ago, their home opener was against the Falcons, so the team they beat in the divisional round. So like if the Rams have a legit quarterback, maybe it's the Rams because you get West Coast versus East Coast. You get both coasts watching.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. Very interesting right there. See what happens right there. So I guess with that being said, that takes care of our hot topics. And now we go into the meat part of our show, if you will. Talking about the lessons we learned in the 2024 fantasy football season. So,
Yes, so Tim, so you have the graphics on your end, I believe.
I believe I do.
All right.
Let
So
me,
put one up, and then we'll start. So each of us have wrote down 5 lessons that we're going to take away from the 2024 NFL season, and since Tim's is up there first, we're going to start with him.
yeah, number one, don't be afraid to draft a top rookie prospect. I mean, if these guys had some very seriously high numbers in their scouting combine on their pro day, they've had pretty good numbers in their previous year of college. If they can be dependable, don't be afraid to take one or two. I mean, got some examples here: Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, Malik Davis for the Giants, Brian Thomas, Bo Nix, Brock Bowers. I mean, Brock Bowers. I mean, he was definitely a front runner for a rookie of the year right there. So,
I mean, Brock Bowers was the number 1 tight end in fantasy, and like nobody saw that coming. Now, but I think the counterpoint for that is next year, like it's like I don't think there's gonna be a Jaden Daniels type season next year from whoever from like Cam Ward or Shador Sanders. So like who does that leave? That leaves Ashton Genty. Like look, if Ashton Genty goes to the Cowboys and I could see him going to Dallas, he's gonna get 300 carries next year with the Dallas Cowboys as long as he's healthy, and he's gonna be a top 15 at worst running back. And then you have Teo McMillan coming out of Arizona, and then 2 tight ends, Tyler Warren from Penn State, and and I know what his last name is, but you got a tight end named Colston coming out of Michigan as well. But those are the only guys that of skill position players I could see being drafted in the first round right now. Maybe Amigo Bupka from Ohio State is going to go, but you might see some running backs go on day 2 and day 3, and I think that there's a solid rookie class. I think Shavion Henderson, Cam Scadaboo, just a couple of names to throw out there, but but 2025 is not going to have as plenty of high ceiling rookies in as they were this year.
right. So a top rookie draft pick, don't be afraid to take a one or two because they just might blow you away, like these guys mentioned, and a few others. Second thing, oh wait a minute, we have a comment here. Who does want to say? Oh, it's Vampire. Pretty. Okay, Vampire. Good to see you, buddy. Our good friend from across the Atlantic Ocean, good friend of the Pain Game Pick'em Show, now becoming a good friend of Fantasy Football Fever. Great to have you here, bro. Uh, Second thing that I kind of took away from fantasy football this year, if there's an above average player who goes to a better system, consider taking them. I mean, for example, you see a good running back on a mid level team, and then he gets let go, and he all of a sudden goes to a team that is a much better level. Then working with that team may make him a better level player. So you might want to consider that. And number three, stacking. That's when you draft a quarterback with a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end from the same team on your fantasy squad. Excellent strategy. I try to do that all the time, and I'm sure a lot of you fantasy players out there like the idea of stacking? I know we do.
In my other league, I drafted Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. It's like at first I was pretty nervous about that because I didn't know like how they were gonna split up the rushing touchdowns and all that, and maybe Lamar Jackson taking away some touchdowns from Derrick Henry, but that turned out to be the winning move in that league because I had Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, I had the Ravens defense, and then I
Hmm.
did another stack where I drafted Aaron Jones and Jordan Addison for the Minnesota Vikings and see how Minnesota turned out this year. So that turned out to be a big win.
Yeah, Vampire gave us a perfect example of my number two thing. Saquon. Look where he was. Look where he is now. Yeah, perfect example right there. Of course, stacking is efficient strategy. And number four, dual threat quarterbacks are a must have. I mean, if a quarterback can throw it really good, yeah, go for it. But if you have a quarterback who can also do some damage with his feet as well as his arms, go to it. Perfect examples: Lamar Jackson, uh, Bo Nix, Josh Allen, who of course was NFL MVP this year, Patrick Mahomes, guys who can not only throw the ball but they can rush the ball as well. You got to draft them when you can.
And also Jalen Hurts because like the thing that basically the thing about Saquon's season this year is that he didn't have as many rushing touchdowns as you would have expected because of all the tush pushes that the Eagles had for touchdowns this season.
Hmm. And last thing I took away from this year, there's really no such thing as a safe pick. I mean, injuries will happen anytime, anywhere. So you got to make sure keep up with the injury reports. If a, have you got to make those quick. Sometimes you got to make game time decisions, just like the coaches do on their game time decisions. You got to do sometimes the same thing as well.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean like I think the perfect example of that was Christian McCaffrey this year because like yeah, Christian McCaffrey well he was a little dinged up in training camp. Then he works his way back, and then just 90 minutes before the 49ers first game of the season, mind you, a Monday night game to where a lot of fantasy managers were relying on Christian McCaffrey. Most of them drafted Christian McCaffrey number one overall. Yeah, he comes up with an Achilles issue, and that ruins the whole season for both the 49ers and for Christian McCaffrey. That McCaffrey did not even rank in the top 50 in terms of running backs this year.
yeah, so safe picks, there's really no such thing. Oh, what did Vampire say? CMC cost me a 5-year playoff streak. Oh my goodness. Sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah, that sort of thing kind of hurt. I mean, it would definitely hurt me. So that's basically what I took away as far as fantasy football. Let's look at Natale's list there and see if he can let us in on what he was thinking here. So let's go
All
ahead and
right.
add that on here. There you go. Go ahead, Natalie. The floor is yours.
Yeah, right here. I put Lamar Jackson should be the first quarterback drafted because look what happened for this season and last season. The player that had Lamar Jackson ended up being the fantasy winner. Me this season, and then last season, Lucas had Lamar Jackson and won. Because Lamar is almost a two-way player in a sense. He could serve as your QB1 and your running back one at the same time. So if you're lucky enough to get Lamar Jackson in round 4 or 5, I wouldn't worry about your running backs that much because who cares who your other running back is? Lamar could basically cover your first running back essentially.
Yeah. And also the reason why we put Lamar Jackson's name on there instead of Josh Allen's was because Lamar Jackson had a great playoffs that
Hmm.
and like he the first round of the playoffs he threw the 5 touchdowns against the Giants. So the following week he had a great game against Pittsburgh, and then the following week. So he scored. I think he scored he threw for a couple touchdowns and ran for a touchdown in a 31-2 victory against the Houston Texans.
Oh yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, meanwhile, Josh Allen had that great game in Detroit, and then was a little iffy against the Patriots, and then the Bill then the following week the Bills blew out the Jets so hard that it wasn't worth
Hmm.
it to play Josh Allen in the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I can see it right here. I'm looking at some stats here on the Ravens page here on ESPN. I mean, Lamar Jackson did pass for 4,172 yards, but he also ran for 915 yards.
Hmm.
That's what we're talking about right here.
How many passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns? Double check.
Okay, he threw 41 throw 41 passing touchdowns and just 4 rushing touchdowns.
All right,
But still,
I mean, Derrick Henry had something to do with that, but
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. He doesn't really get a lot of rushing touchdowns, but he does do a lot of running. So
Yeah.
yes, and in a league where you get a point for every 10 rushing yards, so
yeah.
Lamar Jackson in terms of fantasy points given to you by running the football, 91.5.
Yeah.
And then add the 4 touchdowns on top of that, that's another 24 points. So this it's like you average so like 5 points a game, 5 6 points a game just running the ball.
Oh yeah.
Which is why Lamar Jackson is projected at 21, 22, 23 points because of his ability to be a great passer, which Todd Monken has done a great job doing, which was his biggest weakness, similar to what Philadelphia. So in Jalen Hurts, Kellen Moore comes in, turns him into a pocket passer, and the Eagles are champions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. I guess we'll go to line number 2 here. Yeah, tight ends have fantastic value in late rounds. You know what, guys? You know what round I drafted Brock Bowers in? Round 13.
Yeah.
And look what dividends he
Look
paid
what
off for
happened.
you.
Yeah. And then look at some other tight ends that were fantastic in late rounds this past season. Jonnu Smith. Look at what he did.
Right.
Yeah, he was a tight end too. Maybe he has a case for tight end 1 this coming season.
Right.
So yeah, if the guys are off early, if like George Kittle, if Brock Bowers is off early, just be patient.
Yeah, and like in my other league, I made the mistake because I drafted Sam Laporta in the 4th round, and did I regret it at the time? No, because I thought Sam Laporta would be the number 2 target for the Lions this year behind Amon-Ra St. Brown for
Right.
Jared Goff, but that turned out to be a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So.
And yeah, I put number 3. Yeah, draft several rookies for your roster. Seems like little by little, rookies, more rookies are getting drafted every year, and there seems to be a climb each year. Everybody's improving.
Yeah, but the argument against that take is that you had such an extraordinary amount of playmakers be drafted this year that the first 14 draft picks were all offensive players. So that you're not going to get that next season in the draft, and you only have there are few or limited options of high ceiling guys for 2025. Now, I've mentioned the obvious like Ashton Genty and Tyler Warren and T McMillan among others, uh, but this was such an historic year for rookies that like look, if Brock Bowers played in any other season, he would have been offensive rookie of the year. If
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this one, probably a lot of people do this anyway. The starting quarterback can be picked in the middle rounds. Yeah, I mean, if I would say if all the quarterbacks were drafted early, just wait it out, be patient. You can get a dime in the rough later on. Like, look at what happened. A guy that was predicted as QB2, he's shown he's fully capable. Bo Nix comes to mind. He had a solid rookie season.
Hmm.
If all the hot names are off the board, I say yeah, why not? Wait it out till round 8 or 9 and get Bo Nix.
I did that in my other league. In the league, I drafted Sam Laporta. So I did wait it out for the quarterbacks because I wanted to get value for good flex spots. So
Mm-hmm.
the quarterback I waited out for was Jaden Daniels.
Oh yeah.
the the the,
And
the,
Ah.
the problem was my backup quarterback was Bo Nix, and both had bye week 14, and I needed to win week 14 to make the playoffs. And
oh,
and, and I knew I really needed to trade Bo Nix to get a week 14 quarterback, and I wasn't able to get it done. And as a result, I missed the playoffs by 10 points.
oh,
Oh.
And had I made the playoffs, I would have made it all the way to the championship round.
oh.
Wow.
Also, you saying you accidentally drafted two quarterbacks on the same bye week?
I mean, Bo Nix to me was the best player available.
Oh, at the
Uh,
time, yeah. Mm.
yeah, and I was shopping for someone to try and do that, and I couldn't get it off in time for the deadline,
Mm.
and
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other QB back end quarterbacks that had a solid season.
but also keep in mind, week 14, six teams had buys,
Right.
including and Lamar Jackson had a buy, CJ
Yep.
Stroud had a buy, so um,
Yeah.
which made it that much harder for me to get what I wanted. I went with Derek Carr, but Derek Carr only gave me 11 points, mind you. It was a game where the Saints played the Giants.
Ugh.
So like
Wow.
I mean, Derek Carr could have thrown the ball against that terrible Giants secondary. He only scored 11 fantasy points.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So starting
then,
quarterback can pick the middle rounds. Number five is a very good one right there. Tell us about that one.
yeah, I put keep running backs as handcuffs as they have shown they're fully capable of being starters. Like look at what happened. A few of the starters they either did terrible or they got injured. Yeah, when I saw one of my running backs that I had, Kenneth Walker, got injured, I could not scratch Zach Charbonnet fast enough. I knew I had to make a claim for him because having lived in Washington for a few years now, I've seen him play on like the Seahawks television. He's very good. So I could not
Hmm.
grab him fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, other examples:
Yep.
Tyrone Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
with the Giants. Another example: Chase
Right.
Brown, and Chase Brown finished in the top 10.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right. It is.
Yeah. So yeah, draft those handcuffs. Don't drop them because you might need them later.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't draft those backup running backs, I would not have won the championship in my other league. So
Mm-hmm.
it's because like because there were a lot of running backs that went down weeks 15, 16, and 17, but yet because I had my two running backs were so actually it's actually part of part of the next slide for my lessons.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
would you would you mind getting putting them up, please?
Yeah. Birchwood's Vampire Sideshow's Josh Allen, some arm more, and he's probably the second best rushing quarterback in the league still.
Yes. I could agree with that
Yeah,
take.
yeah, I could definitely agree with that one there. So that was Tally's list of his takeaways from this year. Now let's go to our man Flynn here and see what he had to say from what he took away. Go ahead, Flynn.
Yes, so I'll actually start with number two because that was the point the point I made before with Natalia's last take was that running back depth matters so much because that's going to help you a lot in the playoffs because there have been like so many times like for example last year. So I mean I had Saquon Barkley in a game against New Orleans, and he only had like 20 yards rushing behind that porous offensive line, and I'm just like, could I have gotten more running backs? Like, so it's I can't I need two excellent running backs in order for me to win championships because they're the ones that are going to get so many touches. So and then in my other league that I lost Shepard Harper because he got hurt. Gerard Mayo benched Ramondre Stevenson because he lost a fumble against Buffalo the week before, and that was the difference between winning and losing. But I had Tyrone Tracy and Aaron Jones. I put Aaron Jones in my flex, Tyrone Tracy is my RB2, and had Derrick Henry in the Baltimore game, and that was how I was able to win my championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so which explains why I want to draft the running back with my first pick every year. Because like the gap because in the league we have to start two running backs and it's a quarterback league where running backs are so interchangeable. So running back depth matters.
Uh-huh.
Going back to a point where Tim made earlier. Above average players going to better teams are going to do better. The examples: Saquon Barkley, who finished
Oh yeah.
as RB2,
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry going from Tennessee to Baltimore. Derrick Henry was RB4, and then Josh Jacobs, someone who we did not mention yet, goes from the Raiders to the Packers. He finishes at number 6. And if you look at a neutral thing, Joe Mixon going from the Bengals to the Texans, nothing changed there. And then Devin Singletary going from the Texans to the Giants, he gets benched.
Wow.
And then going back to another point with Tim made about the running quarterbacks, Lamar, Allen, Hurts, Nicks, the running quarterbacks, and also add with good offensive lines do really well. And
Oh yeah.
so that's number 3. And then number 4, you have to be willing to make a big trade or a big risk during the middle of the season because in baseball, right? So that you have a good team, right? You're pretty solid, but you have like a big weakness or two that you got to go out and address at the trade deadline in order to win the World Series. And that trade got me helped me win a championship this year. And then championships are won in the second half of the draft. That in the league I won, I drafted Jaden Reed in the 9th round, Jordan Addison in the 10th round, and Chuba Hubbard, who finished as RB14 in the 14th round.
Mm.
Wow. Very, very interesting right there.
So,
So not necessarily in the first few rounds, maybe the middle round, and then the later rounds could make all the difference.
but I mean, you still got to draft your star players
Oh yeah.
in the first part of the draft, but in order to win championships, that's why I spent so much time on Chase Brown this offseason. That's why I spent time on someone like Tyrone Tracy. Those are guys that if they get an opportunity and they impress their coaches at training camp and they impress in the limited amount of touches they get in games in preseason or the NFL or the first part of the season, you're going to get your chance to start that season.
Oh yeah. So there you go. Well, some very, very, very interesting lessons that we learned from this past season of fantasy football, and of course, hopefully, y'all out there learned a few things, so maybe y'all could carry those lessons on to this coming year, which will be coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, so very interesting right there. And well, I guess we've come to the end of another Fantasy Football Fever show. Very interesting topics for our fantasy league. Eagles are the champions. Congratulations to them. Uh, we know the Tennessee Titans are going to have the first pick in the draft unless something drastic happens. So, and of course, we all know this guy right here.
Mm-hmm.
I got to put that thing up there because there ain't nothing wrong with a little PR.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to listen to Hooked on Sports on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, and anywhere you get your podcasts. So the season's over. He's going back to one show a week. So,
Yep.
so he'll be talking about the rest of the sports. He'll throw in a little bit of NFL in there because the business of the NFL goes on 24/7. So,
And I mean between our show, between this show and the next show that we have the franchise tag window opening and closing. We got the scouting combine at the end of the month. So we're gonna have some insights onto where some of these prospects are going to go and how they and how they're going to be evaluated. So
Mm.
yep.
yeah,
So,
and this also means the end of an NFL season.
Oh, yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Maybe the end of the season, but it's not over. Definitely not over for us. We're gonna keep going all month long, all through
Yeah,
the off season.
yeah, and preparations for next season have
Mm-hmm.
begun around the league. So like we talked about in fantasy, but like if there were a couple of things that you guys took away from the NFL season,
Mm-hmm.
what would they be?
First of all,
Mm-hmm.
as I said earlier, Howie Roseman, GM, stand for Genius Manipulator. My GM, the letters in my GM stands for Goofball Moron. He was all in. And when it was time to show the cards, he had aces over kings, which is pretty good. But fate held a better hand. Fate held a straight flush. And for you poker players out there, a straight flush always beats a full house. Another thing I learned, referees are not perfect. I think we've known that for a while. That's my 2 cents.
I think one thing I got, same teams aren't going to make the playoffs forever. Look at a lot of shockers this year of teams that didn't make the playoffs. Like the 49ers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I had them as making it to the NFC Championship. I think that was my biggest bust pick.
I had the 49ers, the Lions, and I had the 49ers, the Lions, the Texans, and the Bengals as my final four before the start of the season.
Yeah. Yes, I think my big miss too, I think, was I had the Jets making it to the AFC Championship.
Yeah. I remember I had the Cowboys as the number 7 seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
Playoffs.
Let me go back to my notes. I think I had the Cowboys as division winners.
Both of you picked the Cowboys to make the playoffs. I did not.
Yeah, right. Let me look back. I think I still have my stuff in my notebook here. Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, I did really bad for division winners. One of my division winners was the Browns. That was a bad one. Yeah, I had division winners, Jets, Browns. I got the Texans and the Chiefs right. That I did get. Let's see. Let me look at the NFC side. Ugh, another rough one. I got one right in the NFC for division winners. I got the Lions correct.
Wow.
I also had the Cowboys, the Falcons, and the 49ers.
Mm.
Yeah, from the wild card, I was pretty off. I had Eagles, Bears, and Rams. Let's see. And the AFC side, I did another rough one. I had Ravens, Bills, and Colts.
Sheesh.
So yeah, that's okay. I guess that's my take. This season was rougher than anticipated, but rougher than anticipated, but also fun at the same time. Fun and frustrating. That's the way I would put it.
It's, fun because of how you won the championship, right? Because with
But
that
I'll talk
week,
about the season itself. That's
yeah,
all I meant.
yeah. So I mean, fun because that week 16 matchup, the semifinals between you and me was a matchup for the ages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I needed 22 points from Brandon Aubrey to beat you, and he gave me 21.
Yeah. I
It's
thought for sure. I thought for sure you're gonna do it. Like when I saw that fourth part, I'm like, oh boy, I'm cooked.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think the thing that I'm taking away from this, everything goes back to the owners. Like they are the owners that are in touch with what's going on, and they are the owners that are not in touch with what's going on. Like look at the owners like Philadelphia, like the Rams, like Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. Those ownerships that have an idea. Seattle to a degree too. I mean, Seattle want to miss the playoffs despite winning 10 games.
Right.
So that those are the teams that constantly make the playoffs and constantly perform at a high level. Whereas the teams that are not in touch with reality, like John Mara, Jerry Jones, that we
Mhm.
might. There's a reality there where the Giants and the Cowboys are gonna be in the cellar of the division for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, if you look at Stephen Ross, like how does Chris Greer have a job? If you look at Jim Irsay, I mean, I mean, it's the same organizations that are constantly falling behind because of how they see things is not in far like you can talk about the fans all you want, but at least you gotta pretend that the fans give a damn. They actually know something about football. This and that you don't. It's the stubborn teams that are just
Mm.
not willing to uh
Right.
to
True.
to be part of it. So um, coaching matters, coordinators matter, quarterback matters,
Right.
Right.
offensive line matters. I, I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, do I say the same thing every year about what matters, and it comes up at the Super Bowl every year?
Mm.
Yep. Yep. It is true. It is absolutely true. So, may I make a suggestion? We take a week off.
Yeah, I would say 2 weeks off.
Take 2 weeks off.
It's because the free agency tampering period opens on Monday, March 10th.
Right.
March 10th.
So maybe looking at March 7th, that Friday to reconvene to discuss to preview free agency.
Yeah, I think doesn't officially start. I think isn't I thought it officially started the 12th, didn't it? Like the first
It's
day you could
yes,
sign.
it's but the news of all the big free agents, there's a 52-hour tampering period that opens on noon 2 days before the season starts. So the league year begins.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. So that'll be March 7th when we can return. Well, hey, that's gonna be a great day because that will be my birthday.
Yeah,
Oh,
didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess we mark it down. We will return March 7th. So, we'll talk about free agency. No, man, not
Hmm.
free agency, but we'll talk about free agency and the salary. Um, the franchise tags. That's going to be very interesting as to who the teams are going to tag this year.
Oh,
And I am particularly looking at Cincinnati and what they're going to do.
right.
So it's because of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I mean, if you look at how the Bengals handled the situation last year, that was a big reason why they missed the playoffs.
Right.
T. Higgins in Cincinnati, maybe Sam Darnold in Minnesota.
It's,
Well, we'll just see what happens between now and then, I guess.
Yeah, and as I say, maybe I guess after that, maybe March 14th, we could have the official opening of free agent frenzy. I guess look at offensive players, and then one week and
Oh
defensive players
yes.
another week.
Oh yes, we're going into that again. Oh my goodness. It is that time again, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We could probably basically I could do what I did last time. Like I could write down the names and something, and then write it, and then paste it in, and then Flynn could copy and paste the names into his like spreadsheet and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll do something like that. So we will officially close this edition of Fantasy Football Beer. We will reconvene here on March 7th. We're going to start with franchise tags, all that stuff. The free agent market is coming up soon, so y'all stick around for that. Of course, don't forget Hooked on Sport with John Flynn. Don't forget to listen to that on your podcast or your podcast sites, wherever you damn. So another season is over, but me and the guys here, we're just going to take a little break. We'll see you back here on March 7th. So until next time, for Mr. John Flynn, for Mr. John Natale, my name is Tim McClelland. Thanks for a great season. We're going to be back in a couple of weeks. Thanks for a great season. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. God bless you all. And as always, be a good sport. See ya.